welcome to the deep dive. You, our listener, bring the sources, and we dig in to pull out the core knowledge.
Yeah,
It's your shortcut to getting genuinely well-informed.
exactly. And this deep dive learner, it's built just for you.
Today, we're tackling a real classic on getting along with people. Dale Carnegie's How to Win Friends and Influence People.
Yeah. It might seem like just another old self-help book, maybe, but its impact has been massive since, 1937?
Right. And it wasn't just luck. It clearly tapped into something really fundamental about how we connect, something timeless.
Absolutely. And what's fascinating is, back then, in the 30s, you had books on engineering, accounting, sure, but a practical guide for just dealing with people in business, in life, it wasn't really there.
People were hungry for it. And Carnegie, he wasn't just guessing. This guy did his homework.
Oh, definitely. He talked to tons of successful people, inventors like Marconi, Edison.
Right. Figures like FDR, James Farley, business leaders, even Clark Gable, I think.
Yeah. He wanted to know how they built rapport. What were their secrets?
And he took all that, developed it in his adult education courses, and that became the book.
So that's our plan today. We're going to unpack some of the big principles from the book.
Yeah, explain them simply, using the stories Carnegie himself used. Ready to jump in?
Let's do it. Starting with the real basics. What he called fundamental techniques in handling people.
Okay, first fundamental technique. Don't criticize, condemn, or complain. Sounds pretty straightforward, right?
Seems obvious, maybe.
But Carnegie argues it's crucial. Because for him, criticism, it's just pointless, really.
Yeah, it immediately makes people defensive.
Exactly. Hurts their pride, stirs up resentment.
Yeah.
So the idea, learner, is positive influence starts with understanding, not judging.
That defensiveness is huge. I mean, think about when you've been criticized. Your first reaction usually isn't, oh, you're right.
No way. It's more like, well, actually, or you start criticizing them back.
Right. It rarely leads to the change you actually want.
He even brings in some science, mentioning B.F. Skinner's work with animals.
Oh, yeah, the behaviorism stuff.
Skinner found rewarding good behavior works way better for learning than punishing bad behavior.
And Carnegie basically said, hey, that applies to humans, too. We respond better to encouragement.
Totally. There's that quote from Hans Silly, as much as we thirst for approval, we dread condemnation.
That really captures it. That fear of being condemned, it's powerful. It just puts up a wall, makes influence impossible.
Carnegie tells this story about a safety guy, George B. Johnston, at an engineering firm.
Okay.
His job was making sure people wore hard hats. His first approach.
Yeah.
Very top down. Here are the rules, you got to wear it.
Right, pulling rank.
And the result, people put them on, sure, but sullenly. And the second he turned his back.
Hats off. Yeah, that tracks. It's forced compliance, not real buy-in.
Exactly. He wasn't helping them see why it mattered for them.
Now contrast that with Lincoln.
Yeah, Abraham Lincoln.
Right. Apparently early on, Lincoln could be pretty critical. Wrote stuff that ridiculed people. Even made some lasting enemies that way.
But he learned. He learned how damaging it was. The famous story is after Gettysburg. Oh, the letter to General Meade.
Yeah. Lincoln thought Meade didn't pursue Lee's army aggressively enough after the win, so he wrote this really blistering letter.
But he didn't send it.
He never sent it. That's the key. He realized, okay, writing this feels good now. It vents my frustration.
But it would just make Meade defensive, resentful?
Exactly. It would hurt their working relationship.
Yeah.
Make Meade less effective later. Lincoln saw the bigger picture.
That's really insightful. Okay, here's another angle. Herbert Hoover.
Okay.
Story goes, mechanic accidentally serviced the wrong plane for Hoover.
Ooh, that sounds bad. You'd expect yelling, right?
Totally. But Hoover didn't criticize, didn't scold him. He just, put his arm around the guy.
Seriously?
Yeah. Showed trust. Basically said, hey, just make sure you get the right one next time. Focused on the future, not the mistake. Learner, that's a powerful alternative.
Wow. That probably motivated the mechanic way more than chewing him out ever would have. Builds responsibility, not resentment.
To really drive it home, Carnegie includes this piece called Father Forgets.
Oh, I think I know that one. It's powerful.
Yeah. It's a dad looking at his sleeping son, just full of regret for nagging him all day about little things.
Realizing how the constant criticism lands, how it overlooks all the good stuff.
Exactly. It's a moving reminder of how easy it is to fall into that negative habit. Maybe pause and think, learner, about times you've been quick to criticize.
Yeah. It's not about ignoring mistakes, obviously. It's about choosing empathy over just, tearing someone down.
All right, principle number 2, give honest and sincere appreciation.
Okay, so moving from the negative to the positive.
Right. Carnegie believed there's this incredibly deep human need, a desire to feel important.
A fundamental drive.
Yeah, he thought it's been a major force in history. Think about someone like Lincoln, starting as a poor grocery clerk, driven partly by that desire for significance.
It's a huge motivator. Carnegie even points to, well, some extreme cases, suggesting maybe some mental illness comes from trying to find that feeling of importance you don't get in reality.
He mentions a statistic about mental illness prevalence back then. It's quite stark.
Yeah.
And tells a specific story from a psychiatric hospital.
About a patient whose difficult life led her to find importance within her illness? Yeah. It highlights how deep that need goes.
And it's not just about not criticizing, actively giving appreciation. That can be transformative. Look at Andrew Carnegie paying Charles Schwab that enormous salary.
$1 million a year back then, right?
Yeah.
Which was astronomical.
Why? Carnegie said it was mostly Schwab's ability to deal with people and Schwab's secret.
Honest and sincere appreciation. That was his big thing.
It shows, learner, that making people feel valued, it's not just nice. It has real, tangible worth.
Totally. These aren't just soft skills. They have economic value. They drive success.
Carnegie uses this simple, kind of funny story. A farm woman serves her family hay for dinner.
Hey, seriously?
Yeah. And when they obviously complain, she says something like, "How was I supposed to know you'd notice? I've cooked for you for 20 years and never heard a word to know you weren't just eating hay."
Oof. That hits home. How often appreciation is just missing, even with people we love.
He mentions a study on runaway wives, too. The main reason given: lack of appreciation. It shows, learner, how easily we take people for granted.
We just assume they know we appreciate them, but actually saying it makes a huge difference.
He tells this personal story, too. A guy was about to criticize his wife for taking on a church thing he thought she didn't have time for.
Okay.
But instead, he stopped himself, brought her roses, wrote a note saying he loved her just as she was.
And her reaction.
Tears, deep appreciation. And others noticed the positive change, too. It showed him the power of just expressing it.
And Carnegie makes a really important distinction here, learner, between sincere appreciation and just flattery.
Right. Flattery, shallow, insincere, usually doesn't work, especially with smart people.
But sincere appreciation, that's different. It comes from a genuine place. People feel it. He calls it the legal tender that all souls enjoy.
Nice phrase. He also quotes Emerson. "Every man I meet is my superior in some way. In that, I learn of him."
Yeah, basically encouraging us to look for the good, to find something genuine to appreciate.
It shifts your focus, learner, away from judgment towards seeing value.
A really valuable perspective. Approach people looking for what you can admire.
Okay, principle 3. Arouse in the other person an eager want.
This one's key for influence, isn't it?
Totally. The
Yeah.
core idea. Simple. The only way to get someone to do something is to talk about what they want and show them how to get it.
It's all about their perspective, not yours.
Exactly. Stop focusing on what you want. Figure out their motivation, their goals, needs, desires. Then connect your idea to that.
Like the example with kids and smoking.
Yeah. Instead of just saying, "Don't smoke, it's bad," which is about what you want for them.
Show them how it gets in the way of something they want, like making the basketball team or whatever.
Right. Help them see the link between the action and their own goals.
Mm-hmm.
Much more persuasive.
Carnegie tells that great little story about Emerson and the calf.
Oh, yeah. Trying to get the calf in the barn.
Right. Emerson and his son are pushing and pulling, thinking only about what they want calf inside.
But the calf just wants to stay outside.
Exactly. Then the Irish housemaid comes along. She thinks, what does the calf want?
To suckle.
Yeah. So she puts her finger in its mouth, lets it suckle, and just gently leads it right into the barn. Simple.
That's a perfect illustration, learner. Understanding the other's motivation.
It really is. Harry Overstreet, in his book, basically said, action comes from desire. First, figure out the other person's eager want. If you can do that, the world is with you. If you can't, you're walking alone.
Powerful. Andrew Carnegie got this early on. Knew he had to talk in terms of what other people wanted.
He tells that story about getting his rent lowered, right?
Yeah. Instead of just complaining about the increase his problem, he went to the hotel manager.
And focused on the manager's wants, profit, keeping his job.
Exactly. He even helped the manager list the pros and cons of the higher rent from the manager's point of view. Result: smaller increase. See, learner, framed around the other person.
Smart. He wasn't arguing his case. He was helping the manager see the downsides for himself. Very persuasive.
Then there's the contrast. This awful letter from a radio station manager. All about what he wanted. Carnegie's comment was basically, you idiot.
Compared to that amazing job application letter from Barbara L. Anderson.
Yes, applying to banks in Phoenix. Her letter didn't say, here's what I want. It was all, here's how I can help you, the bank, grow and make more profit.
And the result? Interviews from almost every bank she sent it to.
The key difference, learner, perspective. Whose needs are you focusing on?
Self-absorbed versus other-focused. Big lesson there.
Another one, Michael Whidden, a Shell oil salesman, had this older station owner, kind of unmotivated. The station looked run down.
Okay.
Whidden didn't nag him, didn't criticize. He appealed to the owner's desire to be number one, tapped into his pride, his competitiveness.
Ah, found the right button to push, aroused that want.
Exactly. It's about finding their internal drivers, learner.
So tailoring your approach.
There are even a couple of sweet everyday examples. Parents getting their son to stop wetting the bed.
Oh.
Appeal to his wants. He wanted pajamas like Dad's and his own big boy bed. They framed it around that.
Clever.
And a little girl who wouldn't eat breakfast. Suddenly eager when she got to make the cereal herself. Fulfilled her want to feel grown up, important.
These little things show how powerful it is. Just pause. Think about their perspective, what motivates them.
Okay, so those are the three fundamentals. No criticizing, give sincere appreciation, and arouse an eager want. Now, learner, let's shift gears. Part 2. 6 ways to make people like you.
Right, this is about building those positive connections.
Absolutely. And the very first one, become genuinely interested in other people.
This is huge.
Carnegie says something pretty bold here. You can make more friends in 2 months by being genuinely interested in others.
Than in 2 years trying to get others interested in you.
Think about that, learner. It flips the script.
It really does. The key isn't being fascinating yourself. It's showing real curiosity about others. When you do that, people feel seen, valued. They're drawn to you.
He uses his dog, Tippy, as an example.
The dog.
Yeah. Says Tippy made friends effortlessly. Not because he studied psychology, just because he was genuinely enthusiastic about people. Even dogs get it.
Huh. That's a good analogy. Animals often show us these simple truths. Their reactions are so pure.
He also tells the story of Howard Thurston, the magician.
A famous magician, yeah.
Carnegie believed Thurston's success wasn't just the magic. It was his genuine interest in his audience, his gratitude that they came.
He appreciated them, made them feel part of it.
Exactly. Even when the spotlight seems to be on one person, learner, that connection matters.
It does. That appreciation makes a huge difference in how someone is received.
There's also Edward Sykes Jr., a Johnson & Johnson salesman.
Okay.
He kept a big account, partly because he took time to show genuine interest in the soda clerks, the sales staff, before talking to the owner.
Acknowledging everyone, not just the important person.
Right. That small act made a big impression. It's about seeing the humanity in everyone, learner.
Recognizing their worth, no matter their role. That genuine interest really comes across.
Carnegie even used this himself, getting famous authors to speak at his writing course.
How did he manage that? They must have been busy.
His approach wasn't bragging about the course. It was expressing genuine admiration for their work. People respond when you're interested in their passions.
Makes sense.
He includes a letter, too, from someone praising their bank tellers. Why? Because the tellers were courteous and seemed genuinely concerned. It just shows learner taking that time builds goodwill.
These stories all point to the same thing. Listen, show interest, appreciate people. It builds strong connections.
And one more, C.M. Naffel Jr., trying to sell fuel to a big chain store. No luck.
What changed?
He stopped selling. Instead, he genuinely asked for their help with a debate topic related to their industry, showed interest in their expertise.
Ah, clever. Appealed to their knowledge, made them feel respected.
Exactly. That broke the ice, built a relationship. Sometimes, learner, asking for help is the best way in.
That's a great example. Valuing their opinion opened the door.
Okay, number 2 for making people like you. Smile.
This seems almost too simple, maybe.
Right. But Carnegie stresses, actions speak louder than words. A genuine smile says, I like you. I'm happy to see you instantly.
It's universal. Crosses cultures, signals warmth, approachability. Simple, but powerful.
He points to dogs and babies again. Their smiles. Almost impossible not to react positively to them.
True.
And tells that story from the vet, Dr. Sproul. His waiting room was silent, kind of glum.
Yeah.
Then a baby smiled at someone. That broke the ice. People started talking, connecting, all from one smile. That shows you, learner, it breaks down barriers.
That's a lovely image, a little spark of positivity changing the whole atmosphere.
But big caveat has to be real. A genuine, heartwarming smile, not some fake mechanical grin.
Oh, yeah, people spot a fake smile a mile off. It feels off.
Professor James McConnell said people who smile tend to be better managers, teachers, sellers, raise happier kids. So, learner, a real smile pays off in many ways.
Authenticity is key. It reflects something positive inside, invites connection.
There's the story of Robert Cryer hiring someone. The applicant said he chose Cryer's company, partly because Cryer's voice on the phone just sounded glad to hear from him.
He heard the smile.
Basically. Then there's the New York stockbroker, made a conscious effort to smile more. At everyone, elevator operator, colleagues, saw a huge improvement in relationships. Even his bottom line improved.
Yeah.
It shows, learner, that positive projection has ripples.
It really does. Smiling makes others feel good, sure, but it can actually boost your own mood, too. Like William James said, act the way you want to feel.
And you might actually start feeling it.
Exactly.
Carnegie links smiling to happiness itself. Says we can control our inner state by controlling our outward expression.
Regardless of what's happening externally.
He tells about Senora Maria Gonzalez in Mexico. Felt lonely at work. Started making an effort, smiling, greeting people.
And it worked.
Totally. Made friends. Work became much more pleasant. Shows you, learner, even small gestures in impersonal places matter.
It highlights our power to shape our own experience and others through simple, positive actions.
He wraps this one with that great anonymous quote about a smile. It enriches those who receive it without impoverishing those who give it.
Perfect summary. A gift that costs nothing but means so much.
All right, number 3. Remember that a person's name is to that person the sweetest and most important sound in any language.
Yeah, the name principle. This one feels very personal.
It really does. Think how you feel when someone remembers your name, especially if you didn't expect them to.
It makes you feel seen, acknowledged, valued as an individual. Your name is core to your identity.
Carnegie talks about James Farley, key guy for FDR's political success. Farley apparently had this incredible ability to remember names.
Tens of thousands, wasn't it? First names.
Yeah, he had a system. When he met someone, he got the full name, family details, business, interests, locked it in. Years later, he could often recall it.
That personalized attention, huge impact, made people feel they genuinely mattered.
Farley even sent personal letters during campaigns, always using the first name.
That reinforces the connection.
Carnegie says remembering and using a name is a subtle, powerful compliment. Forgetting it or misspelling it, that can really hurt.
Oh, definitely. He tells about his own mistake, right? A misspelled name on a form letter in Paris.
Yeah. Shows how a small detail, learner, can undo goodwill. Pay attention to names.
It really underscores that. Those details matter when it comes to identity.
There's even a story about Andrew Carnegie as a kid, using this principle.
As a kid, how?
He wanted his neighbor's cooperation for something involving his pet rabbits. So he named the rabbits after the neighbor's most prized possessions.
No way. That's clever. Even as a boy, he understood the connection people have to names, to things they value.
He also talks about using this later, helping resolve a big fight between Andrew Carnegie and George Pullman.
The sleeping car guys.
Yeah. Appealed to Pullman's desire for his name to be recognized, for prestige in the industry. Led to the Pullman Palace Car Company.
So it works from rabbits to railroads.
Huh. Seems so. And he mentions the general human desire to have our names live on through donations, buildings named after people. It operates on many levels, learner.
That drive for legacy, for recognition, it's deep.
Carnegie suggests forgetting names isn't usually about bad memory. It's about not making the effort to concentrate, repeat it, fix it in your mind when you first hear it.
Takes conscious effort.
He contrasts that with FDR again, known for working hard to remember names, even mechanics, people he met briefly.
Like the story of the guy delivering a car to the White House, W.F. Chamberlain.
Right. Chamberlain was amazed. Roosevelt remembered his name, asked about him personally, made him feel incredibly valued.
Roosevelt got it. That quote, to recall a voter's name is statesmanship. To forget it is oblivion. Still relevant, way beyond politics.
Totally. Business, social life, it all applies. He even mentions Napoleon had a specific technique for remembering names.
Wow, even Napoleon.
In a simple everyday example, Ken Nottingham at a GM cafeteria. Just used the counterwoman's name.
And her whole demeanor changed.
Completely. Went from gruff to friendly and helpful just from hearing her name. It shows, learner, the power in daily interactions.
It's a potent reminder. Small effort, big impact, acknowledging individuality.
Carnegie really emphasizes the magic in using someone's name.
It does feel a bit like magic sometimes, the effect it has.
Okay, number 4. Be a good listener. Encourage others to talk about themselves.
This connects back to genuine interest, doesn't it?
Absolutely. It's about shifting the focus. Think how much you appreciate it when someone truly listens.
Oh, completely. When you feel heard, understood, it builds trust immediately.
Carnegie tells about a bridge party you went to. Didn't play bridge, barely talked.
So awkward.
You'd think. But the woman next to him later told the hostess he was a most interesting conversationalist.
No, if he barely spoke.
He listened. He asked her about her travels, encouraged her to talk. His secret: being a good listener. It shows, learner, sometimes being interesting means being interested.
That's a fantastic point. People often just want the space to share, to be acknowledged. Giving them that attention is powerful.
He quotes the former Harvard president Charles W. Eliot. Exclusive attention to the person who is speaking to you is very important. Nothing else is so flattering as that.
That exclusive attention signals real respect, tells the speaker, what you're saying matters to me.
There's this wild story about a telephone company troubleshooter dealing with a really difficult, complaining customer.
What does he do? Argue back? Offer solution?
Nope, he just listened. For 3 hours, spread over several visits, let the guy vent completely, didn't interrupt.
3 hours. Did it work?
Amazingly, yes. The customer felt so heard, so validated, he ended up making the troubleshooter a charter member of this organization he started.
Wow. That's extreme, learner, but it shows the incredible power of just letting someone feel truly heard. Sometimes just acknowledging the feeling, the perspective, is the most important first step to resolution.
Mr. Detmer from the Detmer-Warren Company used this too. Angry customer refusing to pay.
Instead of demanding payment.
Detmer just listened, heard the customer out, acknowledged his side of things, made him feel understood. That diffused the whole situation. It shows, learner, listening is an active tool.
Right. It's not passive. It's engaging, trying to understand, validating their perspective.
Carnegie even shares a story from his own youth as a Western Union messenger boy.
Educating himself by reading biographies.
Yeah. And then he'd write to famous people, not asking for favors, just asking them to talk about themselves, their lives.
And he did.
Many did. It led to amazing relationships, incredible learning, shows the power of genuine curiosity. Learner, ask people about themselves.
It's a testament to how much people enjoy sharing their passions. Give them a genuine invitation, and they often will.
He brings us back to a basic truth, though. People are way more interested in themselves, their own stuff, than in us.
The toothache versus the famine example.
Right. Or the boil on your neck versus earthquakes far away. It's blunt, learner, but it's kind of true. We're wired to focus on ourselves.
It's humbling, but important to remember. Helps us consciously shift our focus outward when we interact.
Which leads perfectly to number 5. Talk in terms of the other person's interests.
Builds right on the listening principle. Once you know what they care about.
Talk about that. It makes perfect sense. Tailor the conversation.
It's a natural way to connect, makes them feel you get them.
Theodore Roosevelt is the prime example here. He'd actually study up the night before meeting someone.
Really? Research his visitors.
Yeah. Cowboy, diplomat, scientist, didn't matter. He'd find out their interests so he could engage them on their turf. That level of prep, learner, shows massive respect.
Wow. That demonstrates a real commitment to making the interaction meaningful for the other person.
William Lyon Phelps, the professor, said his aunt taught him. A gentleman talks about what interests the other person.
Simple rule.
Edward Chalif needed funding for a Boy Scout trip from a big exec. How to get it?
Not by talking about the Scouts first, I bet.
Nope. He noticed the exec had a framed $1 million check on the wall. He showed interest in that, asked the story behind it, tapped into the exec's pride. Then he brought up the Scouts.
Found the connection point first. Smart.
It's about finding that common ground, learner, that shared enthusiasm, even if it's not your usual thing. Show you care about what they care about.
That builds rapport like crazy.
There's the bread salesman. Tried for 4 years to get a hotel's business. Nothing worked.
4 years? What finally clicked?
He found out the manager was super passionate about this hotel greeters society, the Greeters of America. The salesman started talking about that. Boom. Got the account.
Amazing. Just shifted the focus to the manager's passion.
And Edward Harriman needed a job interview with a really hard-to-reach tycoon.
How'd he break through?
Research. Found out the tycoon came from poverty, was proud of his rise. Harriman wrote a letter appealing directly to that story, that interest. got the interview.
It's not just politeness. It can be really strategic, helping you achieve your goals, too.
And as Howard Herzig pointed out, it benefits you too. You learn stuff, gain perspective. It's a win-win, learner.
Absolutely. Mutually beneficial. They feel good. You learn and connect.
Okay, finally, number 6. Make the other person feel important and do it sincerely.
This feels like it ties everything together.
It really does. It's the overall feeling you create. The culmination of interest, appreciation, listening, talking about their interests.
It's about validating their worth. Genuinely.
Carnegie tells a quick story. Complimented his hairstylist on his great hair, saw the guy visibly brighten up, stand taller.
Small thing, big impact on how the stylist felt.
And he hits that sincerity point hard again. This isn't about manipulation. No ulterior motives. Appreciate them because you genuinely see something worthwhile. Sincerity, learner, is non-negotiable.
Totally crucial. People can sniff out insincerity. Genuine recognition comes from actually valuing them.
Back to Emerson. Every man I meet is my superior in some way. Look for that superiority. Learn from it.
Acknowledge their strengths, their expertise. Treat them with that respect. That makes them feel important.
He mentions Shakespeare, too, on proud people in authority. Recognizing their sense of importance can be key.
There's that touching story, the Connecticut attorney and his elderly relative.
Oh, yeah. He just took time to sincerely appreciate her memories, her old possessions, things maybe others ignored.
And she felt so seen, so valued in her loneliness.
That she ended up gifting him a car. It fulfilled that deep need for recognition.
And Carnegie getting that valuable puppy from the judge.
Just by honestly admiring the judge's hobby, his dogs. Sincere appreciation, learner, it can lead to unexpected connections.
Especially powerful for people who might feel overlooked.
Last big example. James Adamson getting a huge order from George Eastman, the Kodak founder.
How? Eastman must have heard it all.
Adamson genuinely admired Eastman's office, showed real interest in the details. Eastman's history reflected there. Made Eastman feel important, appreciated as a person, not just a business target.
And that opened the door for the deal. Even someone like Eastman needed that validation.
Exactly. Shows, learner, this need is universal, no matter how successful someone is.
So, those 6 ways again. Genuine interest, smile, use their name, listen well, talk their interests, and sincerely make them feel important.
They're not tricks, learner. They're about developing a genuine, other-focused way of being.
Shifting your focus outward, paying attention, recognizing value.
Well, learner, that brings us through a good chunk of Dale Carnegie's How to Win Friends and Influence People. We hit the fundamentals, the 6 ways to make people like you, using those great stories from the book.
Hope it gave you a clear, practical sense of these principles. Their enduring power really comes from tapping into those deep human needs: connection, appreciation, feeling valued.
Definitely. As you mull this over, learner, here's something to think about. What if you consistently, sincerely focused on making everyone you meet feel truly valued and important? What might change in your relationships, your career?
What new possibilities might open up? It's a powerful thought.
We definitely encourage you to keep exploring these ideas, maybe even dive back into the book itself. Thanks for taking this deep dive with us.